Except for the clicking.
That's me clearing out my email.
Sir, you have a lot of email.
I do. I get on like maybe once a week. So I'm like, well, until the show starts, I'm going through my email.
That's a lot of email for just once a week. I did a Gmail clean out like last.
Android emulator and it downloaded.
Why you always check the boxes.
I did check the box. But it's one of those sites where it says download now and it doesn't show as an ad. So. Everybody got their Audacity up?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Alex?
It is up.
Alright, everybody hit record. I am recording.
You are listening to.
Dude, our quarterback's down. You can try and talk trash all you want. I've hung the season up. We're done. We win one, maybe two games the rest of the year.
Yield, you do realize that New York's on their third string quarterback, right? They've lost two quarterbacks.
Realize that, but they're actually playing better. We're on our second string quarterback, which historically they never have prepared. So when Joe went down, the season was over. So people are trying to talk shit that, ooh, our team won and you didn't. Well, no shit, Sherlock.
I just had to dig. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. I mean, I'm not offended by it. I'm just like, wow, that was a surprise.
Well, okay, let's bring Matt into the conversation. Matt, how you doing, sir? He's the end of all. I don't know. I'm just discombobulated right now.
If folks wonder where I go during this show, long periods of silence are usually followed by talks of wrestling. So enjoy, boys.
We're not going to do the wrestling conversation until the questions. No, Yield. Okay. Yield. I kind of misfired on you because
that's fine. I'm not mad.
No, it's just I posted a joke about the Cowboys, and Alex kind of like ruined my day.
Well, the Cowboys are 8-3 this season. The Giants, before today's win, were 3-8, so they're a much better team than you all this year. And you like to crack jokes at the Cowboys' expense. Like, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I think when you're sitting at 3-8 and the other team's sitting at 8-3, you really can't make fun of them.
I can on the fact that they haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years.
Now, Tricky.
Yes, sir.
I will have to say, I thought the exact same thing when I saw that post. Was your team is at the bottom of their division?
But I'm not. Hold on. I'm not celebrating this year. I'm not bragging on this year.
I know what you're bragging about, and I get it. But I lean more towards Alex on this one. Was your team's not even in the conversation? So I don't think I'd be poking fun.
Well, hell, the last time your team was relevant in any regard was with Eli Manning was there. Ever since Eli Manning, you guys have been a non-factor. So, I mean, like I said, you can make fun of the Cowboys all you want. It just kind of makes you look a little on the goofy side when your team is even worse. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, I disagree.
That's like the team, you've got a football team losing like 49-7, and the team with 7 scores, and they do a celebration dance. It's like, dude, scoreboard, scoreboard.
Well, that's in the moment. I'm picking on past history, not current history.
But you can't make fun of another team, or I guess you can, but like I said, it makes you look kind of bad when your team's completely impotent. That's all I'm saying.
Matt,
you have one good player.
Matt, you want to chime in on this?
What, sports?
Sure.
See, Matt's on our side.
I'm on the side of hockey. That's the only sports side I'm on. Outside of that, you guys are all on your own.
Speaking of hockey, Rangers are kicking ass this year.
I don't want to talk about it.
Fair enough. I'm just glad the Rangers were able to score 7 on the Bruins. That was a big win right there.
And Saber in chat talking some shit about Cowboys.
I don't even have the chat up. Tell me what Saber said, because I had to reboot my computer.
Oh, he said a whole lot. So he first goes in and says CM Punk, then talks about 500 million impressions on X Twitter. I think you bring something. Then he goes in, New York is just crazy. They should have lost that game and went into the draft. They're like a person with a oh God, Saber. They're like a person with erectile dysfunction. They don't know when they want to work. Imagine being a Cowboy saying you're losers since 1994. You've been ruled to a team that hasn't won anything of significance since then, but yet will cheat on your wife and your girlfriend. Still be loyal to a bunch of losers. And finally, he says, I will gladly make fun of the Cowboys and their fans. Another analogy for the Cowboys is that they're the guy who can take the girl to the prom, and then just a better looking guy just comes and takes her to the after prom, if you know what I mean. Oh dear. Anyways.
That was a whole lot.
That was a lot. Now you see why I don't engage in sport. I'll give you this one story. I remember going to the Giants game with my brother, and it was a Giants-Cowboys game. My family's had Giants tickets in the family for decades. And the people in front of us gave their tickets to their friends who were Cowboys fans. And I knew the moment I stopped liking sports was when they got into an argument, because my brother made a snide remark about Giants fans giving their tickets away to Cowboys fans. And, of course, the Cowboys fans in front of us took exception to that, and they started getting into an argument back and forth. I'm like, this is not worth the aggravation. Being so loyal to a sports team that you get into these kind of arguments. End of story.
Okay.
He's not wrong. I can make fun of my team.
Saber that says I will now
Bag on the Giants.
Oh, did you get the last one? Oh, no, he says, I now beg on the chance as well. My brother was born in New Jersey. He lived in New Jersey. He's been a Dolphins fan his whole life. His whole wife. Not life, wife. His whole wife. All right, let's get back to video games, gentlemen.
God.
Let's do an update trophy count. I am level 896 total trophies of 29,512 with 819 platinums. Alex.
Level 498, total trophy count of 9,555 with a platinum count of 164 in 163 games. For the first time in a long time, I don't think I earned a single trophy last week.
You did not. You still, your Alan Wake Platinum was your last trophy.
Yeah, I've thought about starting Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I thought about starting West of Dead. I just really haven't had the urge to start anything. And plus, Thanksgiving being last week, there were relatives in town, so we had to make sure that they had everything they needed. So yeah, it just hasn't been a great week for video games.
All right. Yield.
Level 503 with a trophy count of 9887 and a platinum count of 177.
And Matt.
Well, I beat Spider-Man last week, so I really haven't touched the PlayStation. So I've made no movement. Level 220, 1,307 trophies.
You're not that far off the platinum, sir.
I know I'm not that far off the platinum, but I beat the game. I 100%ed all the activities. I don't need to go do some meaningless stuff to just pop some trophies that I don't need.
I bet Matt, no matter how much he likes this game, since he knows that it's kind of important and tricky, will let it grind at Tricky's gears just not to get the platinum trophy.
I was thinking maybe I give Tricky a Christmas present by earning my platinum in the game.
You know what you ought to do, Matt, is get to one trophy away from the platinum and just stop.
Well, there's one trophy that Matt didn't do, so he didn't 100% the game. Because I'm looking at the trophies right now.
Oh, which one is that?
It's called You Know What to Do.
Let's see.
You got to do that one.
Oh, he ain't got to do nothing.
Oh, no. If you're playing a Spider-Man game, you have to do this.
100 enemies, spider arms, home run, just let it go. Oh. No, I don't need to do that one.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Why not?
Why do I need to do it?
Well, I can't say it because it's a spoiler for the first game, but you have to.
It's been out since 2018. If you haven't played it by now, too bad. No, I'm not doing that. There was no reason for me to go get it. This is one of those things that I said is I don't want to do it just because there's a trophy. I would have preferred it to have been a moment in the game that would have meant something.
It's a moment in the game that means something.
That is artificially manufactured.
Are we talking about the same trophy?
Visiting the spot?
It says as Peter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a moment in the game.
It is not a moment in the game. I did not have to do that at any point.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm moving on.
Good.
Sid,
for everybody.
Sid is level 878 total trophies of 26,006 with 818 platinums. He's catching up to me. I gotta get moving. Let's get into what we're playing. Matt, we'll start with you, sir.
Oh, what am I playing? Jeez. So I put on the Oculus headset. I will never call it a meta. And played Kill It With Fire VR. This is Tricky's nightmare game. And it is a lot of fun. And it's frantic, as you would expect it to be. I also, after last week's episode, and I talked about playing Red Dead 1 on my PS3, the Steam sales have been going on since the 21st, 22nd. So I took the opportunity and I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 because I wanted to give it a try on the Steam Deck. And I've been telling everybody that this is basically black magic making this thing work on the Steam Deck because it still looks phenomenal. And I kind of take back some of the things I said about it last week. Realizing that the first game was a product of its time and that it was very streamlined, and some activities are easier or take less time. They definitely, I still think they went a little bit too far with the attention to detail in Red Dead 2, but I can now appreciate certain things. Like, I'm taking more time to hunt animals or do some of the side quests I just skipped entirely. And I'm now appreciating the game a lot more. But again, playing it on a handheld has been a lot of fun. And then what else did I do? Oh, I just got back into some Monster Hunter World because that's my relax game. Anytime I want to just chill, not focus on anything, I'll go and hunt a monster or two. But that's all I've done this week.
Yield?
Well, let's see here. Let me pull it back up. So I've been playing some, jump back into Power Wash Simulator and working my way through that. I've been playing some FAR, Changing Tides, which I've got myself set up for one more trophy and a platinum. I think I'm going to save that for a couple of weeks. I've been playing some Deep Rock Galactic. I've got my last character. I think I'm like level 19. So I'm like 6 levels away from having him ready to be finished. And I'm going to try to get that done in about 2 weeks, I think, if I can get it all to work line up right. I fired up a game called Real Truck Simulator USA car games. And that's just a bad game. And it's a bad game because it's not a finished game. There's good things in the game. They've got good ideas in the game. It's just not finished. So I'm glad I only paid like $6.50 for it. And that explains why it was on sale so soon after launch. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right, and Alex.
Well, haven't really played that much this week, as I said earlier. Some Rocket League, just mopping up some stuff towards the end of the season. I did, however, yesterday on the PlayStation Network Black Friday sale, purchase Metal Hellsinger for the PlayStation 5 for $13 or so.
Oh yeah.
So I will be starting that soon. I don't know. Like I said, I kind of want to play Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but I just haven't had the push to really start another Assassin's Creed game. So Metal Hellsinger, a little bit smaller of a game, and just in general, like a lot different than what I usually play. So I'm probably going to tear into that here within the next couple days. So that's probably going to be the next game I play.
All right, and I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy, working my way through that. Not really focused on the main story, just doing a lot of the side quests, trying to make sure that once I beat the main story, there's a little mop up for the platinum, because I think we talked about this before. You basically have to play the first part of the game 4 times to get the platinum, because you have to be sorted into each house. So it's about 2 hours game time each time you start. There is a way you could do it with a cloud save. I'm going to look into that once I beat the main game. Surprisingly, I have not played Division 2 all week, because I've been playing the Division Resurgence on the mobile. Got into the early beta, playing that. Surprisingly good. I didn't have high hopes for it, but it's actually pretty good. What else have I been playing? I was playing Mortal Kombat 1 before we started recording. And I think that's it. I'm looking now. I feel like I'm forgetting a game now.
Well, all you remember, I will say this, Alex. I got all the way through Metal Hellsinger on the, I think, normal difficulty. And the last song, the last boss, I had to drop it down to easy just to get through the rest of the game. It was a tough one.
Good to know.
All right. I just looked. I haven't been playing anything else, so we can move on. I'm sorry. I'm just a little out of it because I'm having a PC issue here with the stream, so trying to straighten that out as we're going. Let's get into our topics. The first one is just to let you guys know the PlayStation 5 Slim Digital Edition is now available. This was reported by IGN and written by Robert Anderson. The Black Friday had bundles with this version of the console with Spider-Man or Call of Duty Modern Warfare for $500. And yes, that also means the 5 Slim upgrade is also available for $450. So just letting you guys know it's out there. Quick question. I don't know if we ever addressed this. Does anybody like the look of the new PS5? That line in the middle is kind of like throwing me off.
I hate the overall look of the PS5 in general.
Fair enough. Yield, Alex, your thoughts on the new look?
I haven't even looked because I already own a 5, so I don't care.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, they're the most. I do want a device that's smaller, so I guess it checks that box. But like you said, the cover, the side covers, how there's a line in between them now on each side, kind of throws you off. And I like how the faceplates on the original one were just one solid piece on each side.
So it almost makes it look like it was designed to be set vertical or horizontally, but the logo is on it to be set vertically. So it's almost as if they couldn't make up their mind what they wanted to do.
Didn't Sony solve that back on the PS2?
They did, and it was totally awesome. I love the fact that you could spin it.
Oh, you're talking about okay. I threw me off a second.
Yeah. The only problem was you couldn't really leave your PS2 vertical because it would kill the disk drive.
Well, technology's gotten a lot better since then, so.
It has, but we've regressed in our logo.
I will say I've been watching. I know you guys hate it, but I watch TikTok and I've been seeing a lot of videos lately where they're saying that you should not put your PS5 vertical because of the heatsink. I know we addressed it on the show before, but there was a sigh from Matt.
Yeah, I've seen it. There's number one, the way the people I've seen it from are suspicious, but the problem is it's never been proven exactly what that issue is. You got to figure there's computers out there using the same exact thing for a decade now, and there's no issues. Just as a point of talking, it's people have noticed on PS5s that have burnt out their APUs is because they've had a sharp drop or something that jolted the system. And if they were putting it vertical, potentially remove that vacuum seal on the portion that had the liquid metal thermal compound. So it would be a much bigger epidemic if all PS5s were dying and people noticed that they were being vertical. It does happen. It can happen. Doesn't mean that's normally the case.
Okay, thank you. Because I was going to go into that, but you said that much better than I would have said it. All right. Next story we have Ubisoft is insisting that an in-game Black Friday ads were a technical error. This is coming from IGN, written by Ryan Dinsdale. Over the holiday week, a tweet went out by a player who showed video of an in-game ad popping up in Assassin's Creed Odyssey when the player went to open their in-game map. As the video transitions from gameplay to map, the progress is interrupted with an ad for Assassin's Creed Mirage for 20% discount for the upcoming Black Friday sale. Ubisoft was quick to respond, indicating they were made aware of the issue from some players and indicated it was a technical error and not some form of intrusive plot. The error was patched, but Ubisoft never explained how the error occurred.
Mm-hmm. An error.
Well,
I'm using air quotes here. An error.
Well, I think it was an error, but the bigger story is the fact that they could put ads in our games now, which we've talked about in the past.
It's coming.
It is coming. And I mean, I hate to say it, but it sounds like they're going to start advertising in-game, with sponsorships. Like we're going to see, I don't know, like Pepsi and, Hyundai and all this other stuff.
Oh, I'm sure you'll see it.
So
between your loading screens.
To me on this, I see this as I think it was an error. I don't think this was supposed to go live, but I think this was Ubisoft testing their in-game ad system. Yield, you kind of like started, so I'm gonna give you the floor real quick.
I mean, it's sad, but eventually, at least me being the pessimist that I am, I guess, is that I expect it sooner or later. Yeah, you're going to get it with certain games, whether it be, they build a game so massive that you have to wait for a loading screen, so we're going to throw you a commercial, or...
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of games now where they're building the loading screens into, like, moving from room to room, so there's actually not a loading screen.
Well, but that doesn't mean that they won't eventually build a game so massive that you will have to have some kind of a loading screen. I'm just saying.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't be shocked if this was a quote-unquote accident. I mean, you're already seeing, especially like with Ubisoft games, or even Red Dead's doing it. When I reloaded Red Dead to work on the multiplayer with the guys, before you would actually load in to the main menu, they had a quick little blurb up there about, hey, you can go buy, Red Dead and Undead Nightmare on the PSN for the 5. And I'm just like, oh, that's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's annoying.
Yeah, but see, but that's different. That's
Still an ad.
Yeah,
whether you're promoting another game or you're promoting your own games or not, Ubisoft does the same thing in their loading screens. You go to the Assassin's Creed games and there's ads in the bottom for the newest game coming out or whatever. And it's, while it's in a way, it's nice that you're informing your game base. At the same time, for me, after I see it once or twice, I'm annoyed by it. Now I feel like you're forcing it at me instead of just you're informing me.
Yeah, well, what I was gonna say is, Yield, is it's a little different in the fact that like that's popping up on the title screen, where this mistake by Ubisoft was as they were actually playing the game. It interrupted gameplay, where you loaded up a game, and yes, I'm in agreement with you. Sometimes that can get annoying, but that was at the title screen. This is actually in the game as they're playing. That's the difference in what happened here. Alex, your thoughts, sir?
Well, as you've seen, as games have become more and more expensive, companies will find any way that they can to make a buck. So we have streaming services that have ads, introduced within them for TV shows and movies, or at least with movies. Sometimes you'll have to watch an entire grouping of 4 or 5 ads before you can watch the movie. TV shows, they're kind of interspersed throughout. So, I mean, it'd be nice if it's like, hey, we want to get this game in the hands of as many people as possible so they can see all these ads. So we're going to charge you less for the game, but you'll have to sit through ads. But I think that's wishful thinking, because I think it's just like, hey, pay the same for games, then look at these ads. Or, hopefully they're not super intrusive or they don't take up time you could be playing, but who knows?
All right, Matt?
Well, now that they've proven it's technically possible, we're starting to get into dangerous territory, and I liken it to this. Back when Burnout Paradise came out.
Great game.
And they had in-game billboard advertising. And I think at a point even political party advertisement was coming up on the election. That's one thing. That's non-intrusive. Does it break immersion? Yeah, but, it's non-intrusive. The ads at the beginning of the game, like when I bought Miles Morales, and hey, you want to buy Spider-Man Remastered for $20? Okay, that's fine. That's not very intrusive. Think of it like this. If you're playing a hockey game and there's a break in the play, imagine EA Sports
doing a commercial.
Give them ideas that they go to a commercial break. And I'm not talking, billboard advertisements on the sideboards or on the Jumbotron. I'm talking about, hey, we're going to take you away from the game for 30 seconds for an ad from Pepsi, or from Hyundai. So we're seeing now that it's technically possible. Whether or not this was a mistake, they said it was an error. Maybe their error was, we pushed this out too soon. So I don't trust Ubisoft as far as I can throw them, and it's a issue that is now being brought to light. Obviously, people are pissed off. That said, I only saw the one video. The article says that Ubisoft was made aware by a number of players. I don't know what that number is. I don't know how widespread this issue was on the Reddit thread. I certainly didn't see a lot of people chiming in saying, me too, I saw it too. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say this is potentially an error, but I am certainly not going to be buying any more Ubisoft games until they show me that, they definitely are not going to be trying to use this as normal practice.
Now, I didn't read the article, but do we know if this was on PC or consoles?
It did not stay, no.
Okay. Because I would figure it'd be easier for them to do that on PC rather than consoles. 'Cause I would figure if they do it on consoles, they would have to go through Sony or Microsoft to get approval for that. Would they not?
Not necessarily, because on PC, number one, if it's on PC and it's through their Ubisoft store, that's one thing. But I think you may be onto something for a console side. But like I said, the article did not specify what it was. And if I'm looking at it real quickly, because they should include the tweet. I'm watching the video. The video had an A button for buy and a B button for close out, and their legend, it looks like it's at least Xbox or PC related. It's one of the two.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think this is I don't want to use the word dangerous, but I think this is we're hitting the fine line of like how developers and publishers are trying to make money off their games.
But tricky, it's optional. You don't have to buy the ad, just like you don't have to buy the seasonal fatality.
This is different.
How?
Because this is somebody interrupting gameplay where you're talking about buying DLC. This is them interrupting actual gameplay. Imagine, if Matt was flying through New York City as Spider-Man or swinging through New York City as Spider-Man, and all of a sudden, an ad for, I don't know, New York tourism pops up. That's different.
New York tourism is leave and go somewhere else.
I hate you.
I mean, but it doesn't seem like most of these ads are going to do that. They're just going to be there to remind you that you can purchase something else. They'll be like in a menu or at a loading screen or something like that.
Well, according to this happened, as in Matt's notes, as the video transitions from gameplay to map, the process is interrupted with an ad for Assassin's Creed Mirage. So this is him going from playing the game to trying to bring up his map to get an ad.
I think your example of swinging through New York is an extreme one. I think any company trying to do that will be suicidal. But
Unity.
Yeah, well, we saw their leadership. The example I gave about the commercial during a sports game where it would naturally
that's more likely
already accept it, or in this case, as you're transitioning out of one gameplay element to another, that's I think where we're going to start seeing developers test the waters, and if there isn't too much pushback, they're going to go through it full steam ahead.
And I think it really depends on the game as well too, because like when I'm playing the Division, when I bring up my menu or change my gear, the gameplay doesn't stop. Like I can still get shot during. So unless they're going to pause gameplay, which they don't do on the Division as it is, I can't see them doing it on games. But yeah, I think your example was more likely in the fact of like it's gonna like what would naturally be a commercial break. They're gonna put an ad in. I think that's more likely. But yeah, this is definitely dangerous territory. Speaking of dangerous
Well, here's another example before you move on. In Alan Wake 2,
you destroyed my transition.
I'm sure it wasn't that great anyway. There are collectibles in the form of TV commercials. There's 6 throughout the game. The Koskela brothers, they are like locals who run like who work in the tourist industry. They got like hiking tours, and they run a coffee-themed theme park. But throughout the game, 6 times they will pop up on a TV nearby when you walk by the TV, and you can sit there and watch it, or as soon as it pops up on the TV, you've gotten close enough, you can go into a menu and watch the full thing. It unlocks for you. But that's something that could be like, hey, you're walking through a game and an ad pops up on TV like you would normally see in the real world, and it'd be trying to sell you something like a piece of DLC. So I could definitely see being that as an example in like a third-person action game or something like that.
All right. Well, let us know on our Facebook page your thoughts on this, guys, the listeners, and let us know your thoughts. Now going back to my segue that Alex destroyed. Speaking of dangerous,
why did you just specifically ask for their opinion on this one thing? You never asked for their opinion after a topic.
Trying something new.
Why don't we do it for all topics? Listeners, for any topic we talk about here on the show, we want to hear what you have to say. Go to the Facebook page and start the conversation.
Well, that's always true, but I was just trying to point it out. But thank you, Alex.
I'm just looking at the listeners.
Only if somebody had said that like a long, long time ago.
Listen.
Welcome to episode 599.
Listen, we could try new things.
We're old dogs. You can't teach us new tricks.
Anyway, you were saying
my segue's destroyed now. My segue's destroyed now.
Honestly, you don't need any help to destroy your segues.
I've gotten a lot better at my segues. Leave me alone.
You have, but pointing out that someone destroyed your segue when you really destroy your own segues most of the time, it's kind of the pot calling the kettle black.
I can't get out of my head just Tricky riding down the street in a Segway now. That being Tricky is like preferred form because traffic in New York is so bad. He just gets a Segway and rolls down the sidewalk.
And rolls down.
Coming from
he's walking the dog, riding the Segway.
Tricky Mick Mall Cop.
Coming from Brett Bit, written by RJ, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake isn't canceled and it's still in the works. From Saber Interactive, and the insider says, reporting on the recent rumors of the KOTOR remake being dead, industry insider Jeff Grubb spoke to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. You had to do that, didn't you, Matt? He's smiling.
I report on facts, just like Jason Schreier.
He's smiling. He did that one on purpose. According to the journalist, there were 2 developers at Saber Interactive who indicated they're currently working on the title. That said, there's absolutely no indication of progress, level work, or even a release window. Yield, I know you are the biggest fan of KOTOR. Not the biggest fan. Well, not the biggest fan. I guess you're the most excited for this remake.
Well, thanks.
Listen,
I've never played KOTOR before.
Yes, but
I like Star Wars.
Yeah, but Yield is the Star Wars guy, especially since he's my brother in arms when we're covering Star Wars content on our Patreon page.
Fuck Matt then, right?
I'm not dogpiling.
You know what? I'm just gonna sit here and shut up because everything I say is just being torn apart today.
Well, you are digging a rather deep hole.
I was trying to promote the Patreon. You know what? I'm just going to host a show and just sit here like a mindless, monotone host. Like, okay, guys, what do you think about this? Yield, your thoughts on the KOTOR remake?
Well, until I get an announcement date, this is all just talk. While it is nice to hear that it may not be officially dead, because I have not played Knights of the Old Republic and would very much like to, considering all the hype about it is. It's probably one of the best Star Wars games ever made. So, I would very much like to get my hands on it to judge that for myself. So, but until I get a release date, I am not getting excited.
Okay. I don't want to warn anybody, but I think a former host of the show just popped in the Twitch chat. Maybe if we be nice, he sticks around and says something. Alex, Your thoughts on the KOTOR remake?
Hard Rockin' guys in the chat?
No.
Well, I was looking for the news article when the KOTOR remake was initially announced. It was 2 years, well, it was more than 2 years ago at this point, but September 9th, 2021, from PCGamer.com is when I could find. Yeah, I mean, 2 years in development now, and not having any kind of like idea of what progress was. Really, the last thing we heard is that Sony and Disney were not happy with where it's at, and of course, it's under the label of, oh God, what's the? Not Endeavor. What is the company that bought? Help me, I'm drowning. Embracer. Yeah, the fact that it's under Embracer doesn't.
It's not
really,
good either.
No, so there's not really a lot going for this game, and the fact that we don't have any kind of date yet. Which, look, if it takes 3 more years to get this game out, like just make sure it doesn't suck. But there's nothing about this game that is in the news that's good. There's nothing heartening about this game. I mean, sure, hey, it's not dead yet, but that doesn't mean it won't be killed off at some point, and that Embracer won't just completely say, fuck video games, we're getting out of this, and we're going to go do something else. I mean, so a nice little update, I guess, but the fact that there's nothing to share about the progress of the game really doesn't do much, because this game can be canceled at any point. So,
Matt, your thoughts, sir?
I've been on the bandwagon of I don't think KOTOR needs a remake.
Ooh, hot take.
It has one of the greatest plot twists in gaming. Trying to recapture that lightning in a bottle is going to be difficult. It's something that Square Enix managed to pull off so far with their Final Fantasy VII remake, but we still have yet to see the end of that game and what they're doing. So I think KOTOR is like the GTA or The Last of Us, where it's been ported to every system. I can play it on my phone if I wanted to, which I do. And it still holds up today from a gameplay perspective. Maybe not graphically. So I'd be very interested to see what they do in a remake. I don't think they need to do this, but Saber's going to Saber, I guess, and we'll see what they come out with.
So I got to ask you, Matt, a little comparison here, because when I think of great video game twists, there's 2 that come to mind for me. One is obviously BioShock.
Yep.
And the other one is Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay.
Is this in the league of those?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, that's pretty damn good. It's a pretty elite company right there.
All right. Moving on. Some sad news for you, Alex. Returnal director Harry Kruger is leaving PlayStation Studio Housemarque after 14 years.
What do you mean sad news for me? I shared this. I knew about this.
I know that.
You act like it's like, hey, Alex, sorry.
I was
just finding this out for now.
Trying to relate a topic to you, sir.
You're like, great news shared by Alex, or news shared by Alex, because he loves Returnal and Housemarque. Housemarque's biggest fan.
Why are you guys doing this to me? Why?
We are filling the airways with conversation, Shirky. I don't.
Written by
really know.
IGN and written by Michael Kripe. How? Okay. This is
I didn't say shit.
No, this says most mark.
Mousemark.
Most mark. Housemarque.
How many errors you catch?
Every so often, like Matt will just like throw me off for a second. Like what? He'll
It is IGN.
He'll leave a letter off a word or something like that. I'm like, Matt, what are you doing to me? Housemarque's
I will note. Sorry, one more interruption. Sorry, Tricky.
Go ahead.
I will note. I usually write these the morning of the show when I'm not fully awake. So take that as you may.
No, it's
Coffee. Get some coffee.
It's fine. It's just I'm looking at him going. Housemarque's Harry Kruger is leaving the Sony after 14 years. He was the game director responsible for the successful PlayStation 5 title Returnal. I thought that came out for the 4 as well.
No, that and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart were true PlayStation 5 exclusives.
Got it. Though he did lead teams on other staples like Resogun and Outland. Kruger was quoted, quote...
Ooh, Outland love. I love that.
He was quoted saying, quote, "I've been incredibly fortunate to work on the Dream Project after another and had the privilege of working alongside some truly talented and wonderful people along the way." End quote. Alex will give you the floor.
Tricky, you might be thinking that it was ported to PC because it did come to PC.
No, I thought it came to 4 as well, but as you said, that was a true 5 title. I do remember that now, so that was my mistake.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the one thing I hope is that we obviously wish him the best, whatever he chooses to do, and you hope that this creates more opportunity. Closes one door for him, but opens another somewhere else, and that it creates more opportunity within Housemarque. Always been a really talented development team. I've liked a lot of their work. The team behind Super Stardust and Outland as well now, and kind of bringing their arcade style expertise to Returnal and kind of a bullet hell aspect to a third person action shooter. Like, it's a phenomenal game. It's a lot of fun, very challenging, and the narrative. You got to put some of the puzzle pieces together for yourself, but there is enough there to create a really memorable story. So, yeah, I really enjoyed Celine's big adventure. Hopefully whatever Housemarque is doing next is not one of these live service games that's been delayed by Sony, and they can come out with something really, truly special. But, it's sad to see someone leave a veteran of the studio, but again, it allows somebody to step up and, share some fresh ideas. So it can always be a positive too. Matt, what do you think about this news, sir?
I don't really follow Housemarque, whatever it is. So when I saw that this guy was leaving, I was like, okay. I know that they've made some quality games. I've played Returnal myself. I never played Resogun or Outland. So if this is that guy's pedigree, he's leaving behind a pretty decent legacy for others to follow. And
if you only play one other Housemarque game, Matt, may I make a request?
Sure.
Outland. It is very damn good.
Noted.
Yeah. Yep. Yield, sir. Have you played any of their arcade shooters? And I know that they've kind of moved away from the arcade style. They say it's not really feasible for them anymore, so they kind of have to blend it with, Returnal. But do you miss the kind of, as more developers seem to move away from or at least bigger developers move away from the arcade style games? Do you kind of miss that? Kind of what we got in a lot of the really good racing games on PS3 and earlier.
I do miss some of the arcadey stuff.
MotorStorm.
The MotorStorm.
MotorStorm wasn't
Demolition.
Housemarque, was it?
Demolition Racer.
No, MotorStorm was Evolution, but it was an arcade style
racing game.
Oh.
The only thing that I have to say, I mean, congratulations for him for stepping off and doing his own thing. You always kind of hold your breath a little bit when somebody leaves who has that kind of pedigree and has that kind of success with games. And he's integral to that. Now, he's stepping away. You always kind of hold your breath to see what the next guy is going to be able to do, because, this guy has set a high bar. You have to meet it or exceed it. So, for me, I always kind of just like, well, I hope they do well.
Matt, your thoughts?
We already touched mine when you stepped away.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. I kind of agree with everything Yield just said. It's one of those things where you got a guy in the position that they're successful, and when they step away. I mean, I remember worrying about Naughty Dog when Amy Hennig stepped away, and then you had Bruce Straley step away.
Now look at him.
Oh, stop.
You
like Naughty Dog games.
A lot of these companies are structured in a way that there are people ready to step up. I mean, Herman Hulst left Guerrilla Games, and they haven't missed a beat ever since he's become president of Worldwide Studios. Although, you do get situations like Super Smash Bros. Series where that is kind of seemingly on hold right now because Masahiro Sakurai really doesn't want to do another one, but he's also said he can't see it moving forward without him. So you can, in terms of a game series, if someone kind of takes themselves out of it, and I know it's different than just leaving a studio, but there is that importance of that one person, that head of that studio, where they're so invested in one game, and if that person wants to move on to something else, the game may not be made again, or at least for the time being.
All right. That is going to bring us to our listener questions.
Time them to check my social media, yeah.
And you gotta give me a second because my computer's running slow today. I had it up. All right, so here come the questions. The first question is coming from, I don't know. Hold on. I have to sort it.
The internet.
Comes from Thomas Crawford. Who is the most beautiful female video game character of all time? His would be Miranda from Mass Effect 2. Yes, they have to be human.
Okay.
Not just speciest.
That wasn't my first question, but we'll go with that one first. I guess we'll save the most talked questions for the end.
Thought I could skip them.
There's no way you're gonna be able to skip him. We're not with Alex the way he's been on fire the last 24 hours.
I told you, Tricky. Tricky was wrong, and I was right.
Yeah, we'll get into that. All right, so who's the most beautiful female video game character? Oh, I can't remember her name, but she was
The video game versions of Harley Quinn, Aloy. Come on, it's gotta be one of those for you.
No, it's Madison Rain.
Who?
She's a wrestler.
No, was it Madison Rain? The girl from Heavy Rain.
Oh, I don't remember, but Madison Rain is the name of wrestler.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
That's my answer. I'm gonna look up her actual name or character
The
name.
chick from Heavy Rain.
The chick from Heavy Rain.
Yeah, she was so hot. I don't even remember her name.
I think it was Madison.
I believe you're right.
It could have been, and you just attach rain to the name because of Heavy Rain.
As I said it, that's exactly what I thought I did. Oh, you guys can do your
look that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm going to say Thomas cheated because Miranda was genetically and bioengineered to be the perfect female. Therefore, I think that shouldn't count.
Ooh. Calling you out, Saber.
Off the top of my head, the only thing I could think of was Rosalina.
From Mario Brothers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fairest in all the universes.
It was Madison Page, by the way. Madison Page.
Close.
Madison
Rain.
Madison.
Heavy Rain. Madison Page, a journalist. I get it.
All right, Saber says, okay, the girl from Rogue Op. I don't know who that is. Alex, your answer?
I'll say my favorite female character. I don't know that I feel strongly when it comes to attraction to a lot of the video game characters, because while they are based on real people in a lot of cases these days, it's just kind of like a barrier there that I don't really. It's harder for me to break down. But my favorite female video game character is Elena Fisher from Uncharted.
I'm surprised nobody said Lara Croft.
Well, Tricky, go ahead, change your answer.
There you go. Change your answer.
Well, I'm. Okay.
But which Croft are you going with?
Laura Rain.
You got to go with the triangle boobs.
You're going OG Lara Croft?
Yeah.
You'll poke your eye out. I was going to say the Angelina Jolie one.
All right, so I just Googled sexiest female video game characters, and
you're on a list now.
The top options were Lara Croft, Samus from Metroid, Jill Valentine, Peach, Chun-Li, Tifa, Zelda, Ellie, Ciri from The Witcher, Yennefer from The Witcher, Chloe Frazier, Cortana, Cammy, Morgan.
Oh, I totally forgot about Cortana. Yeah, she's pretty smoking.
Morgan, I think she's from Darklanders or
Darkstalkers.
Darkstalkers, that's what it was. Ivy Valentine, Faith Connors, who I don't know who that.
At least I don't see Felicia from Darkstalkers because that's a whole subgenre.
That's for the furries out there.
Ada Wong, Katana.
Ada Wong.
Alex Vance, Rain. I guess from
Blood Rain.
Was it Blood Rain?
Yeah.
Aloy, Kasumi from Dead or Alive.
I was gonna say one of the torrent of Dead or Alive characters. Scantily clad volleyball playing Dead or Alive characters coming.
What about I figured her name because I never played the game, but what about the girl from Heavenly Sword?
Nariko?
Yeah. I mean, it was
Oh,
also.
no, I guess she can be on your list. I'm not stopping you, Tricky.
You know what? I am changing my answer. As soon as I remember her name.
What game is she in?
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Is it Valdo from Soul Calibur, Tricky?
No,
Sniper Wolf?
not Sniper Wolf. Quiet. Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm changing my
You mean
answer.
Quiet from Twisted Metal?
And Saber Dust says V had a good one, and V said Elizabeth from Bioshock Infinite. Not only is she beautiful, but amazing NPC that does not hold you back.
Accurate.
Okay.
What a great game, Bioshock Infinite.
And Saber also said the girl from Rogue Op, she looked like a beautiful Charlize Theron. It was a PlayStation 2 stealth game.
A beautiful Charlize Theron as opposed to an ugly Charlize Theron.
I'll take an ugly Charlize Theron any day.
All right. Going back to the questions. Tom says Black Friday deals for the whole video game.
Wow, screw Matt. He doesn't get to answer this question.
I thought you did answer. I'm sorry.
No, he didn't answer. Screw you, Matt. You don't get the answer.
Matt's opinion is invalid. Next.
Honestly, I thought, Matt, you gave your answer first. I apologize. Matt, go ahead.
8-1. Done. Next question.
Okay. Tom says Black Friday deals for the video game industry were not that interesting this year. What do you think they could do differently going forward to get people to purchase more digital or video games in general?
Slash the price by like 80%.
I honestly, I think, and this, I'm not trying to make a political comment here, but I think Black Friday across the board was bad just because a lot of people didn't go shopping because everything else is more expensive. So they didn't have the money to go out and buy the TVs and the video game consoles and all that stuff.
Not only that, but Black Friday as a whole has changed in this country. You know, there's so much focused on sale. Like some sales, start online a week before, and sales last after. If there was a Cyber Monday, now it's like a full week after. So Black Friday, like stores are tired of the stampedes and the people acting like assholes. So a lot of the best deals or a lot of good deals, you don't even have to leave your house for. You just go online
and not to mention that Black Friday deals are not just on the Friday. They basically either start early or, like you just said, they go on for a week.
But like Black Friday in the first place, like what was anyone buying for Black Friday? Like, yeah, I mean, I guess, places like Lowe's or Harbor Freight would have good deals on tools. People would go out for clothes, but for the most part, people went to buy TVs and DVDs, and that's what they bought. Black Friday deals, when you think about it, were really never that interesting in the first place.
No, but it was just the industry's way of clearing out their stock shelves so they can start putting up all the holiday stuff.
But I mean, really, besides cutting prices even more, like a Steam sale, like deep cuts, what more can you do? Like putting virtual currency, like for Rocket League or something like that, or V-Bucks for Fortnite, like putting that as part of it, where you actually get quite a bit of those for, a lot less money. But as far as like messing with the price scale, I don't really know, what more they could do to entice people out there.
Yield, do you have an answer?
Well, other than to make it to have better deals. Like Alex said, cut the prices. Thomas is right. This year's Black Friday, whether it was online on the PSN or in stores, was very sad. And I don't know if that was because the lineup this year was sad in general or what, but the best gaming deal that I found this, Black Friday season, if you want to call it, because like Alex said, it starts at the 1st of November now, was you could get a DualSense controller for $50.
Yeah, I saw the Bazaar was 40.
That was the best deal I found. So,
Okay. I thought you had something else to say. That's what I was going to tell.
No, that's kind of it.
Matt, your thoughts?
I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head. I can't say much. Steam always has their autumn sales, which goes on at this time, and I usually pick up a couple games. And every year I hit the same thing, so I liken it to retail stores as Steam. Everybody comes out and says, "Oh, these Steam sales suck. There's nothing good." Well, maybe there's nothing good because you've already bought everything from the past Steam sales. Alex asked the question, what are people buying? Well, back when I used to work at CompUSA, people were lining up for the $200 laptop because at that time laptops were $600, $700, $800. People were lining up for the $250 50-inch TV, where now TV prices are pretty decent throughout the year. Black Friday used to be the sole point where drastic price drops happen. But you all said it already. They've already started the sales early to avoid the stampedes and the rushes at the doors on Friday mornings. And now you're getting to the point where people are raising the price on things like monitors before Black Friday, only to drop them down to the pre-sale price anyway. So we're not even getting that great of a deal.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, did you see the video of the woman walking around Target where they had the Black Friday sales up there, and she pulls it out, the card that's behind it, for some reason they didn't take it out of the display, and the normal sale was the exact same price as the Black Friday deal.
Yes, but this is also where media is misleading, because here's the thing. Having worked in pricing before, I would put the upcoming price behind the sale price, knowing that after Black Friday, that's just going to be the normal price for the product. If you look closer and, if they took the time and zoomed in on the dates of the normal price of the card behind the sale card, maybe that was the normal price moving forward. The point being is you can't trust anything anymore. And to go back to what you said, Alex, working at Lowe's was my favorite because I didn't have to worry too much about Black Fridays. People weren't stampeding Lowe's for any of our deals, but they would come in, they'd shop, it drove sales, and I'd catch a shoplifter or two. So Fridays weren't that bad for me during my career.
One other thing is that a lot of stores, staffing, there's still, serious staffing issues. There's a lot of places or a lot of companies want to run understaffed because, they got to make more money for their shareholders. So a lot of companies probably don't have the labor to have, thousands of people rampaging through their stores buying shit. So having stuff online, when you've got lesser people in your stores or fewer people in your stores, probably helps with the, labor issues.
Matt's shaking his head.
No. No, we're not doing that.
I'll pick and choose to see if we had any good ones. I just typed in the chat, we got to cover the questions from last week, but I was like, no, because we have a lot of questions this week. All right, Thomas comes up with another question. This is a tricky question. If you could make a kid-friendly version of The Division, which franchises would you use in order to make it? I don't know. Because I don't know.
Bluey, people love Bluey. Just throw Bluey in there.
Sure, but I don't think there should be a kid-friendly version of The Division.
You're not a kid.
Next question. Has music in a game you were playing turned you off from wanting to play that game going forward? Matt, we'll start with you. Okay, we'll start with...
I can't say I've had any game that did that.
Yield, you already said no?
Yeah, not that I can think of it. There might be music that's annoying, but if the game is intriguing enough, I'll just kind of tone it out or deal with it.
Okay.
You can always mute it.
But if the game is bad and the music's bad and the music doesn't help cover up a bad game, then it just adds to it.
My answer is no, but there was a sound, and I guess it was the baby crying in Max Payne. That was so annoying. Worse than Jason from Heavy Rain.
Wasn't that the like nightmare scene?
I don't remember. I haven't played Max Payne in years.
I think it was. I think it was when you were drugged out or the nightmare scene, something like that.
Saber says in the chat you can even get $10 off Spider-Man 2. I don't know what that's a reference to. And he said the Steve Austin meme was much better. I don't know what that's a reference to either. Next question. Thomas also wants to know, Thanksgiving was last Thursday. What would you consider to be the perfect meal that you could have once a year? Saber says that's his comments were in reference to Black Friday deals. All right, so Matt, what's the perfect meal that you would have once a year?
This is a tough question because I don't really.
Yeah, I don't say food.
There's no food that I'm like, oh, I could only afford that once. If we're gonna do it, then a really good rib roast, I think, would be the best thing.
My answer's go ahead.
I was gonna say a Brazilian steakhouse. I don't know how many people have eaten at a Brazilian steakhouse, but you get full as shit. So like maybe once a year at most, we'll go to a Brazilian steakhouse because I'm sure it's terrible for your body. But yeah, that'd be the one meal that I would have once a year is a nice evening out, join the salad bar and all the meats at a Brazilian steakhouse.
Okay, excuse my ignorance here, but I thought the question was more like one thing you'd eat, like a steakhouse. You say you have steak throughout the year. Is a Brazilian steakhouse different from having just an average steak? Obviously, the meat quality would be better. That's not what I'm trying to get at.
No, Brazilian steakhouse essentially, and I guess maybe it's just an eating experience. So I thought it would be included within the question or fall within the realm of the question. But essentially, what you do is you buy a plate, say $50 a person, and they have a salad bar where various amounts. It's more than just a salad bar. They have other things like smoked salmon or cheeses and stuff, and you can go up there and eat from the salad bar as much as you want. But they also bring around rotating selections of meats, like 15 to 20 different meats, and they'll cut you off a small piece so you can try a whole bunch of stuff. And like the thing is they want you to fill up on the salad bar so you don't eat as much of the high, cost protein. Essentially, there's a little thing on your table where you can flip it to say, yeah, bring me more, or no, I'm done, or taking a break or whatever. So
we're talking about like a more high quality Golden Corral.
I wouldn't even compare it to Golden Corral. I mean, yes, there is a salad bar element to it, like a feed yourself kind of buffet style, but again, they bring you all kinds of different meats to try. Like, they don't just bring you like a steak. You don't just order a steak. They just have a thing that said, hey, do you want some of the sirloin? Hey, do you want some of the filet mignon? Hey, do you want porterhouse or whatever? Like, they have all different kinds of stuff, and you just get to try everything.
All right. So, yield your answer?
I would say Thanksgiving because I don't get turkey or dressing or all that stuff all but once a year, so that would be it.
My answer is just pumpkin pie, because I can only eat so much pumpkin pie. So I like it, but it gets old on me really quick, and I can certainly wait another year to eat it again. Alex, I just looked up Brazilian steakhouse in New York, and there's one in the city. I might have to go try it out now.
Yeah, you could always take Sweet Mama D for her next birthday.
That would be expensive.
What, 2 people? Well, I'm not saying you take her and 7 of her closest friends. Just, you and her and Tina could go and just enjoy a nice meal together.
Government names.
What?
Government names.
You've said Tina on the show before.
I did not.
Yes, you have.
I have not. I've always
in the anthology of all these shows, you have said her proper name on here before.
I've always referred to her as the goddess, but that's fine. I'll let it slide this time.
She'll forgive me.
Okay, and next question is coming from Shannon. When playing games and no mini-map is available and a fork in the road presents itself, which direction do you take first, left or right? He says he always goes right, and he doesn't know why.
Because you can never go wrong when you go right.
So which way do you go first, left or right?
I guess it depends on the context. Like, if I'm looking at the map, if one way looks...
He's saying there's no map.
No, but I'm saying, like, not like map like you have one pulled up. I'm saying, like, the environment you're in. If it's, like, one way is, like, pretty floral shrubs and, singing birds and dancing, little small forest animals and, with lots of sunlight. And then the other way is, like, a dark path with dead trees and moaning sounds. Well, obviously, I'm going to pick the way that doesn't look like a complete hellhole. I wouldn't say that I pick the same direction every time. It would be situational and I would try to find, I guess the more advantageous path.
All right, Yield.
I tend to always go right, but lately, when given choices like that, I have been
Going left.
well, just changing it up.
Sorry.
Sometimes I'll go left.
So
Sometimes
left?
I'll go right. Well, no, it's just I don't I most always went right. I think that's because I'm right-handed, so I just naturally just went right. And then now lately, when I play games, I kind of just be like, well, what did I do the last time? Did I go right? Okay, I'm going left this time. And then I kind of I change it up.
Matt.
I'll flip a coin.
That's gonna be my answer. It's like it's just random. Wherever I get there, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I was already heading in this direction. I'm not gonna turn around.
I go in the direction of enemies. That way, I know I'm going the right way.
Good answer there, Harvey Dent.
Garrett wants to know, what is the best driving game you played on the 3, the 4, or the 5? I think I know Alex and Yield's answer already, but Yield, I'll let you go first.
So for the 3, Burnout Paradise. For the 4, probably Wreckfest. Because I won't say Burnout Paradise Remastered, because it was a remaster. Gravel was a real close second. And I haven't really played one yet on the 5.
You gotta try Grid Legends. That was a good game.
So, but was that a 5 exclusive, or was it multi-console?
It was on the 4 and the 5, yes.
Then I don't consider that a 5 game.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can, but that doesn't mean I will. I'm probably, because Hot Wheels was both as well. So yeah, I haven't played one for the 5 yet.
Okay. Alex, your answer?
Do mascot kart racers count?
I would say so. I would say so.
All right. Well, I would say, first of all, Tricky, what do you think my answer is going to be?
I thought one of you guys was going to say Split Second.
I totally forgot about Split Second. But actually, Burnout beats that on the 3.
Okay.
Back on the 3, Split Second and Blur, which is like, Activision's adult Mario Kart, as people like to think of it. Both of those were really good games. Both arcade style. But I think I would have to give the edge to Split Second to that just because of how unique it was. But Split Second is a good option, but I think the Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel has to beat it out. Best kart racing game, best mascot kart racer of all time. Phenomenal game, and I played that game for months and months. Well, actually, maybe a year and a half after it came out, because they kept releasing, content for it in their season packs. So I would have to say Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Although Hot Wheels Unleashed was really good too. So honorable mention there to that.
All right, Matt, you have an answer?
Gran Turismo 5 on the 3. I had a whole racing wheel and pedal set up. Plus, the game was in 3D.
All right, you have a game for the 4 and the 5, or just?
Nope.
Oh, I thought he was just asking for one racing game.
He was answering for one, but you gave one for each one, so I figured we'll go with that.
That's what I thought he was wanting, one from each genre.
No, he said the 3, the 4, or the 5.
Oh.
But I just rolled with it. Best racing game. I had the most fun with Burnout Paradise. I mean, I got the Platinum and Grid Legends, and that was fine. But that was more of a grind towards the end. I kind of lost the fun of it. So I'm going to go Burnout Paradise. Joe's in the chat. He says, "What's up, fools?"
Joe, he's coming in here to hear our answers.
Question. Joe popped in right at the right time. All right, but we do have one more question before we get to those questions. Daryl wants to know, have any of you nerds played Silent Hill Downpour before? I have not.
No. I've actually never played a Silent Hill game.
Yield? Oh, Yield?
No, I have not played a Silent Hill game.
I have not either. Matt?
So no, I haven't played Downpour, though it is on one of my backlogs.
Okay, he also wants to know, are any of you watching Silent Hill Ascension? I am not.
No, I don't plan to, no. It's just simply because if I had played the games, I probably would. But well, I guess I shouldn't say that because I have played Resident Evil games and I have never watched any of the movies or TV shows. So, yeah, who knows? Probably wouldn't.
Matt?
No, I didn't even realize that it was shortly before the show. I looked to see where we could stream it from. You could actually stream it right from an app or right from their website. You don't have to have like an actual television service. So I'm probably going to do that after we're done.
10-4. And yield?
Well, I already answered the Silent Hill question. Or was this a different question?
Oh, how are you watching Silent Hill Ascension?
I'm not.
Okay. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to combine two questions into one because they're going to cover the same thing. Matt is going to be totally quiet, probably pull out his Steam Deck for the next 10 to 15 minutes.
That's a great fucking idea.
The best idea he's had all night.
Just going to go on mute.
Matt is officially muted. All right, so Joseph Priestley and Daryl both have questions related to the same thing. Joseph says, thoughts on Cancer Magnet Punk's return. Will it be what people want, or will it undo all of the good Triple H has accomplished as of late? And then Daryl chimes in by saying, how long before CM Punk is back online complaining about how awful everything is and how much of a victim he is? And then he says also games. And then Matt, for some reason, said, sir, this is a Wendy's. I don't know what that means, but Yield, you've been fairly quiet as far as the back and forth between me and Alex all day in the text chat. So I'm going to give you the floor first before me and Alex get into this.
Okay, so what question do you want answered first?
Well, let's just combine them and both say, what are your thoughts on CM Punk coming back?
Well, I mean, it's classic. I know Vince isn't in charge, but everybody who watches WWE will understand this. This is classic Vince in the sense that if it prints money, you'll do it. So to me, it was only a matter of not if, it was when you were going to bring Punk back. Now, I wouldn't be overly surprised if he's gone on some kind of a short leash, but depending on what story you want to hear or believe, it all came together at the last minute, yada, yada. So yeah, it was always, to me, it was always a matter of when, because the guy makes money, whether you love him, whether you hate him, everybody's always talking about him. So I can, and H made a point of it in his media scrum that it's been 10 years, everybody changes. So that's just kind of my belief on that. As to how long before he starts playing the victim, I guess it depends on if anybody butts heads with him, I guess. Because that seems to be what ends up happening, is someone butts heads with him, whether professionally or personally, and then that spirals out of control. I would say give it 6 months to a year, depending on if the Seth Rollins thing is a work or not.
Well, that was good. That was going to be my next question to you.
Seth was really the only one leading up to this whole signing, months up to after he got kicked out of AEW, saying he wants nothing to do with him, he don't like him. But on the flip side, Seth, being a veteran of the industry, knowing that, the man makes money, maybe he was creating heat in case he does come over. There's building in a storyline in case there is one. So it's hard to say. So, I didn't get to see the first Punk run because I was away from wrestling at the time. So I would like to see a good Punk run to see if, all the jive is worth it. From what I've heard, I've seen highlights of him on the mic. Dude can cut a promo and entertain people. So I'm excited just to, if anything, just to watch the place burn.
All right. Before I go to Alex, do you think the Seth reaction that on the fan video, do you think that's legit or do you think that's a work?
At first I thought it was legit. Because like I said, Seth was the only vocal one that said, I don't care for the guy. I want nothing to do with him. I don't want him in this company. I mean, he just straight told everybody what he thought. So I can believe it. Him truly just he doesn't like the guy. Because I was trying to think about it after on my way home from my buddy's house, who is still in the company that was there during Punk's first run other than H.
Well, The Miz, because The Miz has been there forever.
Okay, well, so there's two.
And Seth was there too.
Well, Seth. Okay, so Seth was there. So
yeah, because the Shield debuted during the match between Punk and Ryback.
Okay, so Seth and Seth and The Miz were the only two probably with real experience, well, and Reigns, but you get what I'm saying. That would know what he was like before he left the company 10 years ago. But then I've also seen things where people said, that, everybody in the match knew before they came out. So, like I said, maybe Seth was trying to build in a storyline. Because there were, I've seen this stuff where there were hints of Seth saying best in the world and other hints like that, hinting towards CM Punk months ago. If being in the business as long as Seth has, I could feasibly see someone trying to build in heat, or if someone does come in, I've already created heat with somebody I want to have a match with. And if it doesn't happen, I've just done little nods that mean nothing unless you're paying attention.
All right, Alex, you are the biggest CM Punk fan out of the four of us. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take on the second question first. How long will it be? I mean, according to Punk, he told Tony Khan about when he was in the AEW about the Elite and the Dirt Sheets giving him shit and poking at him over Colt Cabana, and it festered for a year. And Tony Khan did nothing. And Tony Khan has actually come out and said that he actually thinks that kind of thing, dissension within the locker room, is good for wrestling. We see how he runs his company, so I don't agree with him. But, I really hope, I think it's best for everyone, the fans, WB, and Punk, if they can make this work. Because if this is his final run, which he's in his mid-40s, you think he would be, for him to go out on a positive note for his wrestling career, which I think is a Hall of Fame career, would be good for everybody. Triple H and talking about growing and everyone getting older and getting wiser and just everyone being a different person. I think the fans want it. I've seen a lot of positivity from fans. Happy he's back. You heard that crowd, the pop last night. And when he did he checked the time on his watch and just let the people say it's clobbering time. It was massive. It was overwhelming. One of the biggest pops in recent memory in WWE.
Can I stop you right there for a second?
It also helps it was in Chicago.
That's exactly the point.
That
pop.
Fine,
that pop was huge, but mostly because it was in Chicago.
Okay, but again, he was one of the top merch sellers in AEW when so many people supposedly hated him toward the end of his run. So the guy will get a pop wherever he goes. So yes, it helps to be in Chicago, but he would get a pop in most places. But it's best for everyone if they can bend fences and make this work, and he can just come in and help younger talent, which he did get from a lot of younger talent in AEW. They said a lot of positive things about him, including Jade Cargill, who is now in WWE. But yeah, think about it. If Triple H can bring him back and just he has this good solid end of his career in WWE. Triple H said, "This is where you belong. It's home." As cliche as that sounds, it would be spectacular for everyone. It would be great. And I honestly think that a lot of people give Punk too much blame for what happened in AEW. A lot of it is to blame on Tony Khan. A lot of it to blame on the EVPs, Kenny Omega and the Hangman Page, who's not an EVP, but a lot of the issues stem from him and the Young Bucks. So there was a lot of blame to go around in AEW. I understand that people think that Punk had a bad attitude because he was very vocal about his spot in WB the first time he went around, but he's a top guy, and that's what top guys do. So as far as how long, he lasted for a good while, like a year in AEW before things went south, but WB is a much more professional company, which you think will squash beefs before they happen. They're not going to let them fester. So I think he can go longer. Now, if he comes in and people give him shit right away or don't give him a chance, if he's actually trying to do the right thing and be part of a positive contributor to the company, if people just give him shit, I mean, that's bad on them. That's a bad look for them because you're not even giving him a chance. So if everyone gives him a chance, it could, maybe this can work. I don't think Triple H or Nick Khan would risk bringing him in if it's just going to explode in their face. So I hope for the best, and I think that it's really the best for everybody if this works out. Now, I know that I'm not going to convince anybody to like CM Punk who doesn't like CM Punk. And to be honest, I don't need to defend CM Punk because he's successful, he's rich, he's had a Hall of Fame career, and he seems to have a very good life regardless of whether he is in wrestling or not. But I just want to explain why I like the guy. Never met him, so, but just from what I've seen, he and I match up when it comes to politics and socially. He's a dog dad. He loves dogs. Same here. So outside the ring, he and I would seem to jive very well. But inside the ring, the best thing that was done in AEW so far was him and MJF. Fantastic matches, really good promo battles. Anyone who says CM Punk can't wrestle is just someone who doesn't like CM Punk and doesn't want to admit that there's something positive about the dude. He had a lot of good matches in AEW, even during his short run. The guy is always a part of something interesting. He can do great. He's great on the mic. Like I said, a lot of his matches in AEW were good, even when people said he was, over the hill. He had a lot of good matches in WBE. So he's a guy that just gets the business, and all the stuff he's in makes sense. I don't care for this wrestling where it's the Young Bucks style, where it's just like everyone's bouncing all over the place and nobody sells anything. CM Punk, his matches make sense. They make good, logical sense. His last match in AEW against Samoa Joe received very good scores from critics and fans, and it seemed to be a really good match. So the guy can still go. Now, obviously, if this was going to happen, it has to happen sooner rather than later because, yes, he's in his mid-40s. But no, I think that he's a very interesting guy. He creates conversation. This is going to be the first must-see Raw in a long, long time. And a lot of the conversation is because CM Punk's involved. I always find it funny because people who seem to hate CM Punk always talk about CM Punk. But, like I said, he and I match up in a lot of our ideals, but just in the ring. I like his mic work. I like his matches. I like that his approach to wrestling makes sense as someone who grew up watching wrestling from the 80s and 90s. I don't like a lot of the newer styles, the New Japan style, strong style. I just don't like a lot of the stuff. But what he does makes sense to me. And like I said, I think he got unfairly blamed for most of the stuff in AEW. Stuff with Jack Perry, who, by the way, CM Punk's back in wrestling before Jack Perry is. I think that's hilarious. But just, him and all his friends, the elites, and Tony Khan not being an actual owner. I was watching an interview on, I think it was Sportskeeda or something like that on their YouTube channel, and EC3, North America NWA champion right now, basically confirmed that the people in the locker room don't respect Tony Khan as a boss. This is a much more professionally run company, and if there are issues, Triple H will take care of those. I have faith. And for anyone who's worried about, a lot of the people, Rhea Ripley, Seth Rollins, their careers have boomed because of Triple H. So why lose your faith in Triple H now? He's built up WBE. He has the confidence of Endeavor and TKO. So trusted judgment. It's been pretty good. And I generally feel like if you can heal old wounds, if there's a divide between CM Punk and WBE and you can heal those wounds and you can both benefit from it, I'm all for it. So, and I personally think the Seth was working. I generally don't believe Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer, but they came out and said on their radio show, and Dave Meltzer has only tried to bury CM Punk throughout all of this. So anything positive, you kind of got to take as maybe there's a grain of truth to it. But they basically said that all the War Games participants knew about Punk coming out, and that Seth was 100% working. So,
I don't want to cut you off, Alex, but you were going on for a while.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Joe says the Punk effect. Raw for Monday is sold out. I expected that to happen. All right, so me and Alex kind of been going back and forth in the text chat today. I I like Punk. I think he is a good wrestler. I think he's a good mic work. I think his ego gets the best of him sometimes, and I think that some of the things that he said about Triple H and Vince McMahon and in the past, I think he truly believes
100% accurate at that time. You tell me that pipe bomb promo was not wrong at that era in WWE.
That pipe bomb,
it was spot on.
That pipe bomb was, in my opinion, what really launched CM Punk's career. Like, he was popular before that, but once that pipe bomb hit, it went astronomical. I like Punk, and I really hope that a lot of things, that all the stories we hear, the backstories of Punk being a cancer and whatnot, I really hope that's not true. But I do believe that the Seth Rollins reaction was legit. Yes, the guys do, but from the stories that we're hearing, they were told literally minutes before they walked out. There's reports that Punk didn't sign his contract until minutes before he walked out. Triple H in the media scrum said there was very few people who knew that Punk was coming back, and him and Nick Khan were one. Not even the heads up on Endeavor do, because
Ari Emanuel.
Because Triple H said, you know, they were probably watching the show going, "Oh my God, what just happened?" So
he also said it like happened within like a week or so. So
yeah,
him not signing until minutes before isn't really unexpected.
No, I'm just stating the reports. I'm not saying it's good or bad either way. I'm just saying things. I think the Seth reaction was legit. And I also said this in the text chat. I think it was legit more along the lines of Punk coming out stole the thunder from the War Games match.
Well, it stole the thunder from Orton coming back, but they kind of leaked. But they did that themselves, not having. See, that's what made me think Punk was coming back in a sense, because they came out ahead of time and said Orton was the surprise guest instead of just leaving it hanging.
Right, and I watched it,
and even during the show, Chicago was more behaved than what I thought. But even during the show, I would hear faint chants
of CM Punk. See, I watched a TikTok video today, and somebody brought up a good point, is the fact that WWE had to say that the fifth person was Orton, because if they didn't, okay,
the fans would have hijacked the show.
Well, no, not even that. But
you don't think so? Okay.
Well, I think they would have hijacked the show, but to the point of better is, if they left the fifth guy as a surprise, and with all the anticipation of Punk coming back to WWE, there was worry that if they didn't say it was Orton and that he was the fifth member, that when Orton did come out, he would have been booed because he was not Punk. So they had to say it was Orton coming out as the fifth member, because look what happened years ago at the Royal Rumble, where everybody wanted Daniel Bryan to come out, number 30 on the Royal Rumble, and Rey Mysterio came out, and Rey Mysterio got booed.
I don't think you're right in that. Is it Randy Orton has been out for long enough, and we really thought he might have had a career-ending injury, that if that music hit, people would have popped, regardless if it wasn't Punk. But, you talk about how it's stealing the thunder of the War Games match. There are really two places where you could have debuted him if you're going to sign Punk, and that's the Survivor Series in Chicago or the Royal Rumble. And really, it just made the most sense to be here at Survivor Series. And let's be real, like, everyone I've seen, they got. Everyone, once they saw that graphic of like, oh, hey, the press conference is next, everyone's like, okay, it's over. And then the music hits, it got everybody.
Oh no, it was a good surprise. I'm not downplaying that at all.
You can't blame Punk for when he came out, because that was a Triple H call. That was a Triple H call.
I'm not saying that was Punk's call. What I'm saying is it steals the thunder. And I also said this text chat. I look at it the same way of what they did with Ronda Rousey, is you had the woman's first ever Royal Rumble. You made history having a women's Royal Rumble that ended the show with Asuka winning, and immediately that thunder's stolen by Ronda Rousey coming out. The same thing. You have Randy Orton making his return. You have a better than good War Games match. And as the guys are celebrating in the ring, getting their applause and admiration and all this stuff, the music hits and the conversation immediately shifts from the War Games match and Randy Orton's return to CM Punk's back. And that's why I think the reaction from Seth was legit, because if you watch the video, and I tried to send you the video, but it's too long, Alex. There's a fan video of when the guys are celebrating in the ring, CM Punk's music hits, and you see Seth Rollins lose his shit. He throws down his title and starts going back and forth. He's yelling at the referee, and you see Seth Rollins leave the ring, and you immediately see people like Michael Cole and Corey Graves, who, if it's a work and, you're trying to hold back a talent, the security comes out and holds them back. You're seeing two commentators holding Rollins back. So that makes me think it's legit. Now, that's not to say that Seth Rollins can't put it aside and say, this is for the business, this is to make money and all this other stuff. But I honestly think the Seth Rollins reaction was legit. I don't think that was a work. Whether they wind up working in the future, that's a whole other story. But I think that immediate reaction, and I also said this, I think I said this in a private chat with you, Alex. The fact that Seth Rollins was throwing up the finger and screaming "fuck you" on a PG show or PG product, yes, it's off TV, but
it's also outlandish and very overdone. Let's be real.
I just think the reaction was legit.
It was overacted. But I mean, I sent you an article from Fightful Select or Fightful.com.
I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but
it was on the Fox. It was based on an article from Fox Sports Radio, which came out earlier this year in February, and this was after Rollins had called CM Punk cancer, but basically he had admitted that CM Punk had done really good things for him, and he really didn't like to have to say negative things about him. And that, even though they both weren't in the same headspace, I mean, he kind of compared him to Logan Paul, saying they were selfish, but he did hope for the best for Punk and hope that he, was, if he did want to be in the industry, that he was a little bit more selfless. So he didn't bury him. He said that, this guy's done a lot for me, and I don't really like to say negative things about him. But again, you have to remember Triple H is going to anticipate all of this, and he knows. And this will be, if there are any issues, he will sit down and talk to Seth, because again, a lot of these people owe their careers to Triple H. So they're not going to just turn on him now, and they're not going to, go to the boss and say, hey, we're not working. Triple H will smooth this over, and he'll explain it. I think that with Triple H being able to anticipate and being as smart as he is, he knows these issues would come up, and he would be ready to tackle them. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. We're going to end this conversation, but two comments from the chat. Joe says, Punk is screwing somebody out of a WrestleMania main event. Partially true. And they said the women had the match of the night. I disagree. I think the men had the match of the night.
One of the singles matches was a match of the night.
I thought the men's match was match of the night. All right.
The Intercontinental title was pretty good.
All the singles matches were pretty good. I mean, Escobar versus Lee, and then Ripley versus Stark. They were all pretty good. But I'm sure everyone's going to have their own favorite when it comes to it.
All right.
The War Games matches just take too fucking long. They go on forever.
That is true. All right. We're going to end this now because we got to bring Matt back into the fold. Matt, I know you got your headphones on. Sorry, sir. I hope you got some good gaming in.
I took down a monster and Monster Hunter. That's how much time I had.
The Rathalos. Sorry, that's the only Monster Hunter monster I know.
Joe wants to know, Matt, are you still alive?
Brain dead is a classification, right?
Yes.
You're still technically alive.
Shit.
All right. Let's go to our topics of the week. There's two topics that kind of relate to each other, so I'm going to just go through all the notes real quick. Coming from Reuters and written by Sam Tobin, Sony is facing a $7.9 billion mass lawsuit over the PlayStation Store prices. In the UK, Sony faces a £6.3 billion, which translates to $7.9 billion, lawsuit over its prices for its digital game sales and practices. The lawsuit alleges Sony abused its dominant position in the market to require digital games and add-ons to be bought and sold only via the PlayStation Store, which leverages a 30% commission to developers and publishers. The lawsuit further alleges this created damages as customers have paid higher prices for games and add-on content that they would have. Sony's lawyers have called the case, quote, flawed from start to finish, end quote. The second topic is Epic Games CEO says Sony is the reason why they can't lower prices. This is coming from Tryhard and written by Jorge Aguilar. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney said Sony is the reason why the company is unable to offer Fortnite at a lower price on the PlayStation Store. Comment was made during the Epic versus Google court battle that's currently going on. According to Sweeney, this is due to a clause in the contract that called quote, most favored nations, end quote, which is standard in all PlayStation contracts. According to the clause, it makes every major aspect of the contract amenable if any other label has a better deal. According to the article, the MFN clause just promises to treat any county equally to those receiving preferential treatment.
That's my bad.
Is it supposed to be country?
The clause promises to treat another country equally to those receiving preferential treatment.
Okay, there was a couple typos in there. I had to try to work around. All right, so I'm going to start this off. I normally I let you guys go first. I think this is a bunch of bullshit. I got to say, because so you can't say there's no way to prove that you would have been able to get better prices if it wasn't sold straight through the PlayStation Store. There's no way to prove that. Matt. Well, hold on. Let me finish, Matt, because I know you already started. The only thing that I think has any legs on this is the fact that Sony stopped selling games with digital codes. Like, you couldn't go to the store and buy, a code for God of War or The Last of Us or whatever. They stopped that. So the only thing you could buy now as far as PlayStation inside the retail stores is the PlayStation Plus cards or a Sony Wallet cards. But I think this really has nothing to do with it. As far as
Sony can say, well, we're selling these games, our games, for $70 on the PSN, and they're also being sold manufacturer's retail price at $70 in stores. So they're the same price. And as far as DLC and add-ons go, most of that stuff is sold digitally only anyway. Most DLC and add-ons are not sold physically. Now we'll get some, like, later on, some complete edition of a game on a disc, maybe, like they're doing with the Pokemon game, Scarlet and Violet. They're having some of the DLC, released with the game in a new package, an updated package. But for the most part, DLC is not sold physically; it's sold digitally.
No, I think the only way this conversation really has legs is to say that if they had a card, let's just use God of War. If they had a card to get a game code to download God of War, and it was at GameStop could at their leisure say, instead of selling it for $70, we're going to sell it for $50. And if that happens enough over the course of the games, then Sony might feel a little pressure to reduce their prices on the PlayStation Store to match it, because otherwise they're going to lose a lot of money, that way. So I think that's the only way this conversation has legs. Matt, you made a sound as I was talking, so I'm going to give you the floor first.
Yeah, so for a while, and not so much anymore, but sites like Green Man Gaming or CD Keys or these other sites were selling console-based digital game keys. And I don't recall a point I ever saw Sony having their products on there, but they definitely had Nintendo. So it wasn't unheard of that some other sites were selling that. I mean, just looking at Green Man Gaming right now, I can buy a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the 2022 game, for $64, and it's a cross-gen bundle. I could buy Forza Motorsport for $58.19. So there's precedence out there to say that a manufacturer the publisher can sell games, and other platforms can buy those keys at bulk prices and sell it for different prices than what is held in a digital store. I do that with Steam games all the time, where I'll buy a game that I know I'm going to want off CD keys because they run a 10% off pre-order promotion. So there's precedence there to indicate that you could get cheaper prices on other retailer sites. So it's really up to whether Sony wants to sell keys out there. If they're not allowing it, then that is their business call. I think the lawsuit here, the class action or whatever it's going to be, is going to have some difficulty proving the amount of damages that they're claiming. But there is precedence that other retail sites do sell keys for digital games at cheaper prices than what the retailers sell them at.
All right, Yield.
I really don't have a comment on this.
Is that just because it's just too convoluted, or?
I honestly, well, it's too early for me to really form an opinion, and I buy all my stuff off of Sony stores on the cheap anyway.
Fair enough. Alex, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I gave some earlier, but yeah, when it's kind of hard to prove this really when Sony isn't like, they're not charging $100 for games on their PSN network or on the PlayStation network and then charging 70 in stores. It's generally that they're priced at the same price. Now, sales and stuff like that do kind of throw all of this into a little bit of chaos, because with so many frequent sales and, you know, subscription services, I think a lot of people wonder what's the actual value of a game these days, which was Nintendo's own argument with saying that mobile was killing the value of games by selling super cheap ass games, and in some cases really, you know, letting you download games for free. But yeah, I mean, Sony sells the PSN prices match up with what is at retail. And again, DLC is not typically sold in a physical form, so you just buy it off the PlayStation Network anyway, or, you know, the Xbox Marketplace, or you know, Switch's online service. So I don't really think that Sony's really going to suffer anything from this. Now, as retail starts to disappear more and more, and everything is completely online digital, or at least most things, well, that's when we probably should be concerned about, you know, the price of games, because if there's no alternative to digital, then they can kind of just sell stuff digitally for whatever they want. But, you know, that's, I guess, a talk for the future. But yeah, I don't necessarily, Sony doesn't jack up the prices of PSN, and a lot of times can point to the fact that they have regular sales, or at least a sale going on almost every single week, or rotating out every 2 weeks. So I don't really think that they're gouging us on prices on the PSN. It's the same as what you'd find in stores.
10-4.
Or really cheaper, because the PSN has sales more frequently than stores do. So.
All right. And we have one more topic of the week, and that's covering the Game Awards. I'm not going to do all categories. I think I mapped out 7 categories here to try to go through them real quick. So if there's a game or a nominee that, or a category that you want us to talk about, let us know. But you know, we'll put it in the Facebook group to have a discussion about. But the topics that I chose, just quickly, just give me your opinion of what you think is going to win. Most anticipated game. The nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. Matt, we'll go with you. We'll go in the order of Matt, Yield, Alex, every category.
I think Hades 2 might take the edge on this one.
Yield.
What was the name? What was the category?
Most anticipated game.
Well, mine is Outlaws, so I'm going Outlaws.
All right. Alex?
I voted in the categories, and for this one I picked, I'm with Matt in Hades 2.
I also picked Outlaws. All right. Next category, Best Multiplayer. Nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Go to Matt first.
Call him Baldur's Gate on this one.
Yield.
I'm just going to go Baldur's Gate.
Alex?
I believe I said Party Animals for this.
I've never even heard of Party Animals. I'm going to say I think Mario Brothers Wonder is going to win this. All right. Next category, best ongoing game. Your nominees are Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact.
Which one did I say for this? You said best ongoing?
Best ongoing.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain I picked Fortnite for this one because you can't stop that juggernaut.
Yield?
I don't really like none of the options, to tell you the truth, but probably Fortnite.
All right, Alex?
It's hard to pick against Fortnite. That's what I said.
Clean sweep on Fortnite. Best action game. Your nominees are Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. I think there's a couple games that left off this nominees, but we'll go with that.
I picked Armored Core.
Yield?
Let's go with Armored Core.
Alex?
I picked Armored Core for solidarity with Matt.
I really don't have a choice because I didn't look at the nominees before, so I'm going to go Armored Core just to go with Matt because I don't like any of these games. Best performance. Your nominees are Ben Starr in Final Fantasy 16, Cameron Monaghan from Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Idris Elba in Cyberpunk 2077, Melanie Libbard in Alan Wake 2, Neil Newborn in Baldur's Gate 3, and Yuri Lowenthal in Marvel Spider-Man 2.
I went with Yuri.
Okay. Yield?
I could really care less. The Cyberpunk one was DLC, so I really don't count that. Yeah, I really don't care. There has not been any. No, I don't care.
Okay. Alex?
I said Cameron Monaghan for Star Wars.
Jedi. I also said Cameron. All right. Next category, best game direction. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Mario Brothers Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom.
I think I think there is a split between Marvel, Spider-Man, and Baldur's Gate, but I think Baldur's Gate's going to edge it out.
All right. Yield?
Wow, we don't have a diversity in our big topics. How sad. It just goes to show you the releases this year. I'll go Baldur's Gate, but yeah, I'll just go Baldur's Gate.
And Alex?
I said Alan Wake 2.
I figured you would. The only one I played is Spider-Man 2, so I have to go vote for that. All right, and the last one, Game of the Year. We have to cover that. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Mario Brothers Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom.
So the fun part is I played every one of these except Alan Wake 2. Now, I trust Alex's judgment and that Alan Wake 2 is a pretty decent game, but I feel like maybe it may not be up to the par of some of these other ones. And I'm discounting Resident Evil 4. I don't like, and I don't think remakes should be acceptable Game of the Year choices. They're just doing what's been done before, just better. And Spider-Man 2, as great as it is, I don't think is Game of the Year capable, which leaves me with Baldur's Gate, Mario Brothers Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. And Mario Brothers Wonder is a great, fantastic game. I don't think it will win. So it comes down to the big question. I was really torn on which one I went with. And I think ultimately I went with Tears of the Kingdom. I honestly don't even know if, to me, it's between Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom. I have no clue which one will actually win.
Okay. Yield.
It'll be Tears of the Kingdom because everybody has a hard on for that.
And Alex.
I mean, all worthy contenders. I said Alan Wake 2 because I got to pick one, and really, it being the only one I played, it's kind of hard to pick another one over it. Do I think it's going to win? No, not really. I think it's likely going to be Baldur's Gate or Tears of the Kingdom, but the fact that they were able to get in there and Remedy prove that they can improve so much on the original Alan Wake, because I don't even think that Alan Wake got consideration for Game of the Year when it first came out. And really, after playing it, really good game. I don't think it's Game of the Year worthy, but Alan Wake 2 improved enough, and they did enough with the gameplay to make it a Game of the Year contender. So it speaks to just how much they improved the formula, which was good, but they made it much better in Alan Wake 2. But I voted for Alan Wake 2, but I think it's going to be either Baldur's Gate or Tears of the Kingdom that actually takes it home.
My vote is Tears of the Kingdom. I said that since the game was announced to be coming out this year. As much as I love Spider-Man 2, I don't think there was enough done in the game to really have, sit here and try to defend Spider-Man 2 against a Zelda game. I think
He said it. He said it. He said it's a Zelda game.
That's true. He did.
Freudian slip.
Nope, you just admitted.
It was a Freudian slip.
One knows and one yes is a yes.
Yeah, I think I had more of an argument to say Horizon should have beaten Zelda in the years past, but I don't think. I think Tears of the Kingdom is going to win this. Some comments from the chat. Joe says, Sony sales are trash. They make smoke and mirror by putting a more expensive version of the game on sale. Most anticipated game is Alien Chronicles. He says no Division nomination. That's because Division did come out this year. A comment that was hard agreed by Matt. The guy playing Miles should have been nominated for Best Performance. He also says remake should have its own category. I don't know if there's enough remakes in a year to justify having its own category. But
we had Dead Space and Resident Evil this year. I'm sure we can come up with a couple others.
Yeah, you did say that in the chat. So, yeah. So those are your nominees, your categories. There are other categories I didn't go over, like best art direction, best score, music, audio design, best independent game. Obviously those are important categories, but I don't think we have enough to really have a debate about it. So those are the categories we're going to cover. If there's any category you guys want us to cover, let us know, and we'll put a poll in the Facebook group for you guys. With that being said, let's close out the show with some shout-outs. Alex, we'll start with you, sir.
Give a shout-out to the community, the fans, the fuel to the fire that is Trophy Whores, episode 599. We're one away from 600, and it wouldn't be possible without you all. So thank you very much for continuing to support us throughout all these years. And really, even if you're new to the show, we appreciate your support, and we would love for you to keep listening. So thank you to all of our listeners and community members. Give a shout-out to Tricky and to Yield and to Matt for recording tonight. Give a shout-out to the best in the world, CM Punk and Triple H, for making it happen, bringing him back to WWE. Very exciting time in WWE. And I like I said, I hope for the best. I want this to end well for everyone, and I think it just benefits everybody for it to end well. And last but not least, to give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend, Ashley. I love you, hun. Yeah, that's going to round me out.
Yield.
Shout out to Matt, Tricky, Alex for recording tonight. Shout out to all the pimps and madams of the whoredom, everybody who hung out tonight in the Twitch chat. You guys are awesome. You make the community go. And yeah, that's it. Short and sweet.
Matt?
Shout out to you gents. It was a good show tonight. Appreciate everything and all the topics brought up. Shout out to my wife V, everything she does for us in the community. Shout out to the people interacting in chat tonight, Joe and Thomas. Thanks for stopping by and interacting with us. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. We're going into the last month of the season. One more month to get your XP, complete some challenges, put up some goofy posts. So come on by to channel3.gg. Enjoy the fun. Have a good one, guys.
And shout out to all my hosts. Thank you very much for showing up. We are, as Alex said, we are one episode away from 600. If you guys want to send in some audio or an email, you can send us to the trophyors@provinggaming.com. You can send the audio. Just contact me. I'll either find you a way to get it into our Dropbox, or you can email it to us, or however it needs to happen. We can get it on the show. Special announcement for next week. Next week is episode 600. We're going to have Jeff Hanna on the show. That was requested by a couple of hosts and a couple of fans, so we're going to have him on the show. My original plan was I was going to quiz you guys, but that's not going to happen next week. Probably going to do that in 601. Probably cover the Game Award winners there and the quiz, unless there's really any topics, which generally after the week of the Game Awards, there's really no topics to talk about, so seems like a good time to do it. Special start time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. That would be 10 o'clock in the UK if you guys are listening.
Good. We'll be done by midnight for them.
Well, Matt's hoping because Matt's the one having to edit the show.
I'm hoping because I'll check out by then.
Well, if we're still going 5 hours later, there's something wrong.
Well, if we're going 3 hours later, there's something wrong.
Well, our shows tend to get long, our monument shows.
Monument shows are becoming every week now, but that's beside the point.
Hey, I tried to keep this one under 2 hours, but Alex got long-winded on CM Punk.
Just Alex?
Just Alex?
Alex went for about 10 minutes. I went for about 2.
Well, Yield also
That's
went
what she
decently
said.
well.
You know what? Let's end the show. Shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to Sweet Mama. Shout out to the goddess. Yes, it's the goddess, not government names, Alex. And if there's nothing else, until next week.
Goddess, is that Tina?
Until next week, happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
It's clobbering time.
All hail Megatron.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.